What's going on, Lion fans? Welcome to the Pride Detroit YouTube channel. I'm Miko, joined by my guy Morgan here. And Morgan, I feel like it's been a minute since we last sat down and did a video, but we're getting back to it this week. And I think we have a really interesting topic today for the viewers. For those of you who haven't had a chance to check out the Pride Detroit website, Morgan actually had an article today that went live on the website that I think is very important for a lot of people to check out because it really highlights the importance of a guy like DJ Reader. And in this video, we're going to kind of talk a little bit more about DJ Reader, even though we've talked about him quite a bit. Morgan, we did the film study on him. We've had conversations about Aiden Hutchinson and probably and referencing DJ Reader as well. But in today's video, I really want to hammer a point on how there's one specific player in Alim McNeill that I think will benefit a lot from DJ Reader. But before we even get to how Alim will benefit from him, I really want to kind of give you the floor to kind of talk about just how DJ Reader as an individual player is really going to help this entire defense when you start looking at every aspect of it, not just the defensive line, but the linebackers, the secondary. Like to use the words that you said to me before we started recording, he's kind of a force multiplier when you start looking at him as a player, right?
Yeah, man, he brings so much to the table. And I like how you referenced right now at prideofdetroit.com, we're doing our roster preview. So typically every day a player is going to be profiled to where we're looking at their expectations going into last year, what actually happened, and then outlook for next year. So I wrote that for DJ Reader. I also put a link to the film review I did when the Lions first signed Reader. So that is in there too. Excuse me, but yeah, man, DJ Reader, like there's a reason there's only a couple guys like in the NFL at a time that can do what DJ Reader does because it's to an extent a dying breed. Back in the day, nose tackles were very prevalent, but the game has changed and a true nose tackle is getting more and more rare. I feel like, you think about DJ Reader, Vince Wilfork before him, there's just not that many. Like Jerry Ball was when I was a kid. That'll date me a little bit there.
Yeah, I remember Haloti Nada was one of my favorite nose tackles
There you
over
go,
for Baltimore.
Haloti. Yep, and that's good call. I don't know why that didn't come to me, but yeah, Haloti. That's why he came here because the Patricia was trying to implement that Patriots scheme, and it calls for a nose tackle that can two gap. And what I mean when I say two gap is a lot of the time you're going to ask a DJ Reader to line up over the center, whether he's shaded to one shoulder or the other. And that's going to be either the 0 or the 1 tech. All right. So 0 lined up right on his nose, like right over the head of the center. And then outside of the shoulder will be to that 1 tech. And Reader is rare because he can two gap. So he can be responsible. Aaron Glenn can be like, hey, DJ, on this rep, we need you to occupy both A gaps. And what that does is it just releases stress and like takes burden off of guys like the linebackers. So you're looking at Jack Campbell and Alex Anzalone, and it also takes stress off of guys like Alim McNeill, who we're going to really get into in a bit here, but the likes of Aiden Hutchinson and Josh Pascal and whoever's playing next to him, Levi Onwuzurike, Marcus Davenport, you name it. It just, the force multiplier thing sticks out in my head because I want to say that was like a term in algebra or something I wasn't so super good at back in the day, but I want to say it was like something like that. But it really, that's what I think of with a DJ Reader because it affects everything. Your ability to be really very, like you can really vary what you call as a defensive coordinator if you're Aaron Glenn with DJ Reader. It makes you so much more just multiple. I hate to use that word because it makes me think of Matt Patricia, but you can get into a ton of different looks and throw a ton at people. And that's why people pay for Reader. That's why he was with the Bengals. And we're going to get into some numbers here, but he's been like one of the best, if not the best interior run defender in the league since he entered the league in 2016. Right, Miko?
Yeah, absolutely. And when you say force multiplier, one of the other places that I think he is going to be such a huge benefit to this team outside of, like you mentioned, the linebackers, the defensive line. Obviously, if your defensive line is performing optimally, it'll also impact your secondary. But I look at those reserve guys, the Levi Onwuzurikes, the Broderick Martins. You mentioned Josh Pascal, those guys that will be coming in relief. Their jobs become a little more simplified. and possibly they can get back to doing the things that they are most optimal of doing. A Broderick Martin obviously can learn from a DJ Reader because he probably is going to play the same type of role. So understanding the responsibilities and how to play at a high level when it comes to being a two gap type of defensive tackle. But a guy like Levi Onwuzurike, who has great size, and I think some people assume that Levi should be able to do both, but Levi always came in as more of like an attack style three tech. And so if he can get back to that and being able to play the style of football that he is best at, and maybe when DJ Reader comes off, you keep Alim McNeill on the field, and now you can put Levi Onwuzurike next to Alim, and you get that duo that Detroit thought they were getting when they drafted both of these guys. Maybe Levi can start to get back on track with the type of player he wants to be. Maybe a guy like Josh Pascal doesn't have to kick inside as much, and he can really start to develop on the outside and be this premier pass rusher that you were hoping you were getting again when you drafted Aiden Hutchinson and him in the same draft. I really do. Like I said, I like that analogy that you, or that word that you use in force multiplier, because it really does trickle down to so many different other aspects of this defense. It's not just the player that's playing right next to him or the player that's playing right behind him. It really impacts this defense as a whole and what they're able to do. You even pointed out them being more multiple in their formations. The Lions truly can be. They can be 4-3 one game. They can be 3-4 another game. They can be 4-3 one half, 3-4 the other in another half. Go with a more of a 5-man front because you have so many different options with, so many different personnel on this defensive line. That is just one, like, to your point, it just, you can kind of go on and on and on. And your article does a really good job of illustrating not just what DJ Reader can do for the Lions this year, but again, just kind of giving a highlight of what he's done so far in his career, dating all the way back to this time in Houston and in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and I love the point you made about Levi. Like, the best case for Levi Onwuzurike this year is, he's playing 40% of the snaps and he's getting in there on some like passing downs as a interior rusher, and he's whipping guards and centers butts because that's what they drafted him for. To your point, he was always going to be a pot stirrer back there. He's not really someone that can, I mean, I'm sure he's going to have to be able to be on the field, but you're not asking him to two gap and to eat space up. He was always a pot stirrer back there, if you will. So going to Reader's numbers, though, so he got drafted in Houston in 2016. So he was there for 4 years. All right. And then in Cincinnati, 2020, gets injured, only plays 5 games. So let's look at the last 3 years as like a nice little sample size for data. 21, 22, and 23. In 2021, he played 59% of the snaps, 590 snaps. In 2022, 60% of the snaps and 397. And then 2023, he played 58% of the snaps. So really, I feel like that's going to be the sweet spot for Reader.
Yeah.
If he plays 14, 15 games, stays relatively healthy, and he's on the field for about 50 to 60% of the line snaps, then I feel like that means this went really well, and the effects are going to be, felt everywhere. Like the linebackers are going to want to buy him dinner, some good barbecue here in Detroit. Found out his name was Barbecue. Shout out Pro Football Reference for that one. Apparently, he's from Carolina, so I'm sure he likes that vinegary barbecue, which I love it, man. That stuff's so good, to be honest with you. I like Texas style too. I can go both ways, But getting back to DJ, aka Barbecue, a good goal too. I know this is something like Aaron Glenn is super excited about, man, is if they can really be good, like really good, like they were last year on first and second down, well, now you have more of the personnel in place to be like, to do what Aaron Glenn wanted to do last year. Like, hey, we're going to go cover 0 when it's 3rd and 11, and I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at you and see, like, hopefully we get off the field, but hopefully we, get some turnover worthy plays. And that's how this team could really take a step up, is increase their turnover production, take care of the ball a little more. And then you really start whipping teams' butts on a week to week basis. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but those are just some of the things you can look at with Reader, getting to more of those favorable third and long situations, favorable down and distance.
Yeah, and it kind of like highlights another aspect of DJ Reader's game because as much as he is a very good two gapper, one of the best in the NFL, he's also a very good pass rusher in his own right. So he's not a guy that you necessarily have to take off the field on third downs. You can still leave him out there and really put opposing offensive lines in a pickle where if you have Aiden, Alim, DJ, and whether it's Josh Pascal or Marcus Davenport or whoever you decide to throw out there, that opposing offensive line is going to have to make some strong business decisions on who they're going to double, where they're going to slide protection, and who they want to give those one-on-one opportunities to. And that leads us into the next thing that we kind of wanted to talk about, Morgan, where this is where I think things become very advantageous for Alim McNeill, because if he's able to get more one-on-one opportunities, more opportunities to play that three tech position, since he's lost some of that weight and became a little more agile, not really lost weight, but kind of just transformed his body a bit and became a lot more agile, I think this could be a great pairing for his career, especially for this upcoming season, where I'm going to say it right now, Alim was on that trajectory to getting to a Pro Bowler last year before he got hurt. I think he gets it this year. I think he can be that dynamic in this defense next to DJ Reader to where, you know, he racked up 5 sacks last year. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility to see him rack up 8, maybe 9 sacks this year.
No, and that's, you know, that speaks to the effect that DJ can have, Reader can have on the field, because I completely agree. Like, everyone's going to benefit, but if I had to put money on who's going to benefit the most by with the presence of DJ Reader, it's going to be Alim McNeill. And you can have some fun, because through my film study, when I watched, and it was all of last season, you have to devote 2 players to blocking DJ Reader almost every single play. And if you don't, he's going to be, I don't know, it's almost like he takes it personally and he tries to run through the guard's chest or the center's chest, and he just walks you straight back into the quarterback. And that's the worst. Ask any quarterback around. That is the worst kind of pressure that they want to deal with, is the stuff right in their lap. There's not really much to be done with it unless you're Lamar Jackson or one of the freaky guys, or Mahomes, that can make something out of nothing. But yeah, I can't wait to see that, because it really does. It opens up so many possibilities. Like, I'm already thinking about if you have DJ Reader at the nose, right? Like, it's a passing down, and you have Alim McNeill at the 3 technique. And then on the outside of Alim McNeill, you have Hutchinson outside of the tackle working against. So what do you do there? They're going to have to slide protection, right? That's what's going to happen pre-snap. They're going to slide protection to the left. But then hopefully on the other side, then you got James Houston or Marcus Davenport or Derek Barnes on a true one-on-one with the tackle, because they slid that other guard to deal with DJ Reader and Alim and Hutch. And right there, you can really start creating a lot of pressure, hopefully with 4 rushers. And what that means, then you get to devote more to the back end, and away we go.
Yeah. And like I said, like, this is where I see things going really well for Alim, because the last few years, Alim's kind of been great. Like, first of all, let me say that first and foremost, Alim has been awesome, better than advertised as a 3rd round draft pick. Like, he's been very, very good, but he's been doing it mostly solo. Or again, like, no disrespect to Benito Jones, no disrespect, well, maybe a little bit of disrespect just because of some of the stuff that Isaiah Buggs has been getting into, but like, those guys just weren't the running mate that he probably deserved. And so Alim was doing a lot of double duty, right? He's got to be the best defensive tackle when it comes down to stuffing the run. He's got to be the guy that's winning his one-on-ones and using his agility to get into the backfield. And so he's using a lot of energy just to be able to be that force in the middle. But now he has like a legitimate force next to him, to where, not saying that Alim can take plays off, but a lot of focus is going to be on DJ Reader. And it's mainly because DJ's just been doing it longer. So I do foresee Alim getting more one-on-one opportunities. And these 2 guys, when you start looking at PFF and how they're graded as pass rushers, very similar. Like, they're very close to each other in terms of ranking. I think DJ Reader's was ranked 14th with a pass rushing grade on true pass sets. Alim's right there at 16. So you're getting 2 top 20 pass rushers in the middle of your defense. And I just think, like, going back to last year, Alim really elevated himself. and is really knocking on the door and on the cusp of being one of the better defensive tackles in the NFL. And it's lofty. Like there's a lot of good defensive tackles, Morgan, in the NFL. You have your, Dexter Lawrence's, you have your Chris Jones, your Derek Brown's. Jalen Carter was really good in his rookie year. But I think Alim is definitely like putting himself in that category to where him getting a Pro Bowl nod doesn't seem far-fetched for me. And I just think that he is going to be one of those players that when we're looking back as to like, man, what was the thing that helped the Detroit Lions, get to a Super Bowl or get back to the conference, title game? We're going to be looking at Alim McNeill saying like, hey, they finally had a dude in the middle who finally like got some help, and he just showed how talented he is by the type of havoc he's able to wreak in the backfield.
Yeah, man, I completely agree with you, and I really do think if this goes well, like, and Alim takes his game to the same, they're different players, but like Ed Oliver from Buffalo, sheesh, man, that's something. And you put that next to a known commodity. If DJ Reader can be healthy, knock on wood, then man, it transforms the defense because you just have like just two awesome forces that go with each other like peanut butter and jelly, just making things really difficult for you. And then you throw in that you have Hutchinson, who hopefully takes a step this year. Doesn't even have to be a giant one. And you're cooking with some hot oil real quick. And it could be a lot of fun because I'm excited this year because with the personnel, hopefully everything, health, being a factor, obviously, as it always is with football. I guess we can stop saying that. But I really do think this is where we'll see like people like, oh, this is why folks were so high on Aaron Glenn for so long. You know what I mean?
That's a really good point. Yeah. I think obviously Aaron Glenn has definitely taken his slings and arrows because of just this defense not always performing up to the caliber that I don't even think it's the caliber that they expected the defense to perform to. It's really just like when your offense is so dominant, right? It's like in basketball, right? When you have like a really talented, like high flying offense, but yet they're giving up 120 every game. And you're just like, bro, if you guys played like even a little bit of defense, this would be great. I think that's what it was the first couple of years of Aaron Glenn being here. This past year, defense looked great, right? The secondary, yes, was shaky, but to be top 3 in run defense, and you know that the elements and the players that you had to give you a top 5 run defense are still in place, and you've improved your secondary, Aaron Glenn has a lot more tools available to him. Now, that is going to come with even more scrutiny, right? Like there's going to be even more eyeballs on this defense because you do have a DJ Reader. You do have a Carlton Davis III. You spent your first 2 draft picks on corners. There's going to be a lot of high expectations. You signed in Amik Robertson, right? So on one hand, I think I agree with you. We'll see everything that Aaron Glenn is capable of. But at the same time, I do think there's going to be a lot of scrutiny that comes with it if there's games where the Lions give up, 30 points. Like that noise from the crowd is going to come quickly. I can say that.
Definitely, because this defense is on paper way better than it was last year because you're looking at you have the addition of Reader, who is just quite simply a big step up from the likes of Benito Jones or anyone else in that room last year. But
shout out Benito though, right? Like,
yeah,
hey.
love Benito. Not
love
Bugs.
Benito, love the overalls. I'm gonna miss
Bugs,
that look.
Me too. He was cool, and like apparently he was really funny. But yeah, I hope he does well. Bugs is doing terribly, thankfully. And yeah, man, like I think it's going to be so fun to see. But at the same time, I do agree with you. Like if they have a couple bad games, they're gonna be like, oh, what, this, that, and the other. But they have options, man. They really shouldn't be having too many bad games because even if you get a little dinged up, you have options on options right now at corner, which is your biggest weakness last year. We went into conference championship weekend with Kendall Vildor and Cam Sutton, and we have been just honestly, the fact that the Lions made it that far with what is a testament to this coaching staff. So I really do think this is going to be the year that Aaron Glenn, if all goes really well, Aaron Glenn will have a head coaching spot somewhere next year, and the Lions probably either or at least in the Final Four, or maybe won a Super Bowl. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that's very well said. I think this could be the year where again Aaron Glenn gets his flowers. I think Alim gets his flowers from the league and just noticing like how talented of a player he is, and how he really is a force multiplier even in his own right in the middle. DJ Reader can continue to be that guy that really helps elevate that entire group. And yeah, if everything goes according to plan, if obviously, like you said, it seems redundant to say when it comes to football, but if health can stay in the positive for the Lions, yeah, maybe they are able to get back to that Final Four standing. So um, that's pretty much going to do it for this video, guys. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section when it comes to DJ Reader, how excited you are about him. What do you think he's going to bring that's most valuable to this Lions defense? Also, looking at Alim McNeill, do you kind of agree with Morgan and I where we kind of feel like, hey, Alim could be in for a breakout year and possibly get his first Pro Bowl nod? Or do you see someone else maybe rising to the challenge and getting more recognition because of a guy like DJ Reader being on the roster? Also, feel free to chime in on the Aaron Glenn comments. Do you feel like Aaron Glenn is really going to finally reach the level that a lot of people thought he would, or are you kind of a little skeptical still? So let us all know all of that in the comments section below. Also, be sure to head over to pridedetroit.com and check out Morgan's entire article because there's a lot of good stuff in there that we didn't even get to dive into when it comes to DJ Reader, and it's really worth your time. And check out all the other roster previews that are going to be coming out on the website as well. And if you want to stay tuned to all of the video content that we have over here on the Pride of Detroit YouTube channel, all you got to do is hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and that is going to keep you plugged into all of the content that we have every time we upload a new video. Also, I kind of already said it already, but please be sure to drop a comment because those types of things really help out this video a lot, and it really helps us get in front of even more people so that they can also enjoy the content that we're making over here. So, with all of that said, because it was a lot, I'm Miko. He's Morgan. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch, and we'll be sure to catch you guys in the next one.